So I've just left Lake of the Woods. I'm on my way up to Crater Lake. And to do that, I'm driving along what is now called Dead Indian Memorial Highway. They changed it in 1993 from Dead Indian Road to be a little more sympathetic. It's possible that the Indians that were found dead, probably murdered along this road, were killed by members of another tribe. Who knows? But as I drive along here, I feel it's really important to, I can't remember these people, but I would like to mourn them in some way. And I like to look upon the landscape here, imagining that some of it, not least the trees, the wildlife, was very similar to what they would have seen, what they spent centuries living around. You can see the sign in the background there, Dead Indian Memorial Road. I would love to know what these places were called by the indigenous people of this region. Obviously, their culture has been intentionally erased. There were termination periods. The people are still here. They still exist. And their history has to be remembered. And of course, this is about the worst time, well, not the worst time in history, there have been worse times, but we are so far away in this country from embracing the indigenous roots. But I feel that's why I'm here. The white savior here. But it's why I want to stay here. I would like to follow indigenous people and what they deem best for this land. And I would like to see them in these places, performing ceremonies, and less of these holidaying white people like me. At least I'm trying to remember them. I don't know. So I just wanted to finish off the discussion about Indians in America, and I'm sure I sound like this white savior wannabe. God, even worse, like a liberal or whatever I sound like. I don't really give a shit. Because I know it comes from like a deep place within me, like since I was a child I felt this affinity with tribal people. For me, it's not just that we should remember and memorialize and be aware of our history. It's also going to save our future. The answer to our disconnection, our isolation, our wars, our planetary issues, our health crisis, environmental crisis. The answer to these things lies in what we lost, what we took away through colonialism and capitalism. Indians had wars, they were human beings, they were assholes, they were selfish people, of course. For a start, it occurred to me how awful it must have been to have thousands of years of tradition, to have gone from living more or less harmoniously off the land without any need, without attachment to possessions, without marriage. There was reproduction, there was the purpose of a couple being together and raising children, and then they left. There wasn't any such thing as adultery, money. They didn't have money. They traded. They came to places like this on vision quests. They were spiritually advanced, and my descendants came in and saw their generosity as something to exploit, and that they were easy to enslave. And what we have lost there is our spirituality, and we are trying to get back there. And there is a growing number of people that are dismissed as hippies, that have a desire to return to a more spiritual, a more grateful way of living, a more present, You know, like spending all this time out here by myself in places as beautiful as this. Honestly, just breathtaking. Like just talking to you and, you know, this noise, this online posting and just being around people. You know, there's a touristy part of the lake here and it was, there's so much noise. People are not being present in their lives and they're not being themselves and they're not being connected to each other. Which is rich for me to say, considering that I am out here on my own, not connected to anyone. But what I am connected to is this, and occasionally the present moment. So I know I sound idealistic and passionate and dismissive, but I can't always go through life thinking about what somebody I'm not going to agree with is going to think of me. So I'm expressing myself in this beautiful place. This is a place to meditate, not talk to my camera, so I'm going to go do that.